Templeton, founder and chief instigator at 30 Second Success. And this is the 30 Second Success podcast where we ditch the pitch and start connecting with clarity, confidence, and passion. Today, we're talking about something I see more often than people care to admit. But first, if you're ready to fully step into your voice and communicate what you know you've been called to do, the Brand Success Hub gives you the clarity, support, and direction to do that without overcomplicating the process. Head on over to 30secondsuccess.com/hub to learn more. So today we're talking about something I see more often than people care to admit. You're not burned out on your business, you're burned out on your message. Maybe the words don't feel like you anymore. Maybe you're saying all the right things, but you feel disconnected. Maybe you've grown, but your message hasn't caught up. That's what I call brand burnout. And if that's you, you're not broken, you're evolving. Let's talk about what to look for, why it happens, and how to realign your message without burning everything to the ground. So, what brand burnout really is? First, let's define it. Brand burnout is what happens when your message no longer reflects who you are. Your offers and your words feel slightly off. You're tired of hearing yourself say the same thing, and you've changed, but your brand hasn't. So it can look like avoiding posting, email, or networking. It can look like over editing every sentence because it doesn't feel right. And it can definitely secretly feel like you're dreaming of starting over with a totally new identity. Brain burnout isn't a sign that you've failed, it's a sign that you've grown. You've collected new experiences, new wisdom, and maybe even a new audience focus. Your message is just lagging behind your growth. So, here's some signs that your message no longer fits. So, let's get specific. Here are some common signs. You cringe at your own intro. You hear yourself say, "Hi, and your body quietly goes, "Oh, that's not really me anymore." Um, you feel like you're acting a part. You can perform your message, but it doesn't feel grounded. It's more like mask than a mirror, right? It just doesn't feel like you. You attract clients who aren't quite a right fit. They're nice, they pay, but they're not who you really want to serve anymore. You're constantly trying to tweak your tagline, your niche, or your website copy. It's like rearranging furniture in a house that still doesn't look and feel like home. Your energy drops every time you have to talk about what you do. Right? You can feel it internally. It just doesn't land, right? If any of this sounds like you, if it lands, like if this is speaking to you, that's your inner compass saying it's time to update the message to match the person I've become. So, quick reminder, if you're enjoying this episode, please take a moment to like, follow, or subscribe to the podcast. Your support helps us reach more people with stories and strategies that inspire real connection. So, why does brand burnout happen? Right. Here's the good news. Brand burnout is normal when you're growing. It's a good sign that you're actually evolving. So a few common reasons that this happens. You've evolved, but your brand is stuck in an old season. Maybe you started serving anyone who would pay you, and now you're called to a more specific, legacy focused client, right? You built your message from your head, not your heart. You followed what sells instead of what deeply true and what really connects on that deep emotional level. You've outgrown your starter story. That original story got you here, but it's not the only story you have anymore. Your faith, your values, or your priorities have shifted. Now you want your brand to reflect that more clearly. Something to me, this is I experienced this over the 11 I've been in business. Trust me, I know what it's like to go through the growth process, to attract a different client, to feel like you want to go deeper in the work that you were intended to do. When you have those aha moments of clarity of this is the real work, this is where the depth comes in, and here's where that emotional connection happens. That's where this comes from. So your brand is a living thing. When you grow, it needs to grow with you. So instead of shaming yourself for feeling tired of your message, let's treat it like a gentle nudge. It's time for a brand check in, not a self beatdown. It really isn't. It's not time to beat yourself up over your messaging not feeling right. So, a simple brand check in framework is something that I want to share with you. So here are some steps that you can take. So you don't have to burn it all down. Please don't burn it all down. You've worked really hard to get where you are. A lot of what you've already accomplished can just be realigned with the direction that you're going. You can realign it very easily. And here's a simple framework you can walk through. And yes, this ties beautifully to the personal brand checking guide that's available on my website if you go to my resources page. So it's that personal brand checking guide that you want to look for there. So here's some steps. So what still feels true? Which part of your message, offer, or story still feels aligned? Keep those pieces. They're your anchor. Number two, what feels heavy, outdated, or performative? Is the language, is there language you've outgrown? Or are you speaking to an audience you no longer want to focus on? Are you attracting people that you no longer wish to serve? Number three, who are you called to serve now? Has your ideal client changed? Has it sharpened? Has it shifted? Is it more clear to you as to who you want to serve? Are you ready to name that more boldly? For me, choosing Christian business owners, not everyone with a pulse, really makes a difference. Right. So when I'm very specific in who I'm being clear on who I work with, it matters because that's who I want to attract to my work. So, how do you want people to feel when they experience your brand? Do you want them to feel seen, supported, empowered, equipped? How do you want them to feel? What's that emotional connection you want to create within them and within your message? Are your current words doing that? Are they connecting? Are they helping people experience what it's going to be like to work with you? Number five, what's one small shift you can make first? Is it updating your LinkedIn headline, refreshing your 30-second message, rewriting the about paragraph on your website? Brand realignment doesn't have to be a dramatic rebrand. It can start with one honest sentence. Use this as permission to adjust with intention, not spiral into, I have to start over. So, my own brand burnout moments. Yes, I've had them. So, from a personal story, I've already shared that I've really realigned where I'm moving to. So, moving from I help people with their 30-second pitch to doing the deeper brand communications work and now openly serving faith forward driven leaders, that's where my business has gone from. So for years, I was known as the 30-second message person. And I still love that work. It's still the foundational work that I do. I talk about ditch the pitch and start connecting. But I talk about going deeper into that deep personal connection. As I grew, I realized my real work wasn't just 30 seconds. It was who people had to become inside to show up for those 30 seconds with clarity, confidence, and compassion. Once I owned that, my messaging, my energy, everything shifted in the best way. This gives this actually gives your listeners permission to to step into working with you. This is the boldness that you want them to experience when you are able to speak from a place of heartfelt compassion and clarity that communicates who you serve, how you serve them, how they're going to feel when they work with you. That's what makes a significant difference. You need to understand those parameters so that you can then communicate them with the people you want to work with. So if you're listening to this and thinking, Laura, that's me. I'm not burned out on my business, but I am burned out on my message, then this is your invitation to pause and realign. Brand Success Hub exists to help purpose-driven leaders get clear on what they're called to say, communicate it with confidence, and to build real connection that leads to meaningful growth without overcomplicating the process or burning it all down. So it's for those who are ready to stop questioning themselves and start showing up fully aligned. Simple, practical, real support when it matters most. So if you're ready to start the shift, join us at 30secondsuccess.com/hub. Thank you so much for joining us on the 30 Second Success podcast. If you're enjoying this episode, be sure to subscribe so you don't miss next week's inspiring conversation. And until then, stand in your brand, trust your voice, and remember, success is just 30 seconds away.